Hi everyone, welcome back to my lab. If you're new to my channel, I'm Yori. Welcome, I'm so happy to have you today. If you like beauty and makeup related videos, then I do upload every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday 9 a.m. Central, and I would be so happy to have you. If you're not new, welcome back and thank you for continuing to support my channel. I do have a giveaway going on my channel, so please make sure that you click on the video in the description box so that you can enter that and you do not miss out. Today's video is an absolute exciting one. We are going to go over the new Wet n Wild brush set, and this one is the one that retails for $30. I challenged myself to do my entire face with this brush set. If you'd like to see my opinions on the brush set, then just keep on watching. Okay, so I picked up my brush set at Walgreens, and just a word of advice, when you go to your local Walgreens, ask someone for what it is that you're looking for, because I went through the entire beauty section and it wasn't there. They had it stashed away over like the pet food section because they just have no space for all their things, and so it might be there and you might be able to get your hands on it. So just a word of advice. Otherwise, it is available on walgreens.com and also on wetnwild.com. I'll leave it linked down below wherever I find it in case you're interested. So this is a pro brush set, and it does include 10 brushes. According to the box, the collection is cruelty-free and vegan, has densely packed ultra soft bristles. Synthetic bristles mimic the consistency of natural hairs and have ergonomic handles for total control. And we do get 10 brushes inside the box. The packaging is beautiful. The price tag is visible right here, but it does easily peel off in case you wanted to give this as a gift. And I think it would make a beautiful, beautiful gift, to be honest. So it does slide right out. It has the holographic packaging, which is so on trend right now. It's a really beautiful box. And then if you open it up, the brushes are also so nicely displayed. So you get a bunch of dirty brushes. Just kidding. Mine are dirty because obviously I have already used them, and I wanted to put them back in the box so that you could see how they're displayed. You'll see them in action shortly. I'm just not in the spot in my channel where I go on and do the intro with a bare face because I don't want to scare anyone away. In any case, this is what the brushes look like. You do get 10 brushes. If we go in order, this one is a dome pencil eye brush, a tapered blending brush, a flat contour brush, a precision foundation brush, a large powder brush, a precision setting brush, a blush brush, a tapered highlighting brush, a fluffy blending brush, and this one is a precision flat face brush. So you do get 10 brushes, and they're beautifully displayed. They are perfectly white when they're new. All right, so here are the brushes that you do receive. You get 7 face brushes and 3 eye brushes. I want to go through the face brushes first. The one I started with was the foundation brush. You'll find throughout the video and throughout the clips that the brushes do have this little ergonomic handle where you're supposed to place your thumb to use the brushes. I never use it. It's nice. That's like reminiscent of the Smashbox. The new brush collection has that divot, and I've also seen the other Wet n Wild brushes have that as well. But to be perfectly honest, I never place my hand there. I tend to hold my brushes further down the handle because I find it gives me a lighter application, especially with my eye makeup, and just a more control that way, believe it or not. If I'm like way up here, I start to pack on entirely way too much product and it just doesn't work as well. So for me, that little divot doesn't really help. But other than that, my notes on this foundation brush, it is very soft. It's angled and it sort of has a dent in the center. Again, forgive the fact that the brushes are not clean. So when I was using this particular brush, I went in and I blended out my foundation. Now, the way that I do my foundation is I swipe it on and then I blend it out with a brush or with a beauty blender. So in this case, I use this brush. And as I was blending it out, I noticed that the brush does blend very nicely. It does not absorb too much product, but the bristles are so soft. This brush is not super densely packed, and so if you have a very thick foundation, it might not work for that. I tend to use more liquid foundation, and it works fine for that, but if you're using a stick foundation or something like that, then this might not be a good brush for that. Otherwise, it's really very, very nice. I like the angle because you can get underneath your eyes and in the crevices around your nose, and it's a really nice brush. I like this one. The next brush that I used was this flat face brush, and to be honest, this brush was very confusing to me because it's not quite a concealer brush like I'm used to, and it's a little bit thicker than that, but it also doesn't look like an eyeshadow brush, so I decided to use it for concealer, and I applied my concealer from the product wand, and then I blended it out with this. It does the job. It's not my favorite, to be honest. It does get into the inner corner of my eyes, and my eyes are really deep set, so it does a good job of that, and it does blend, but it's not my favorite brush in the set. I would say this is probably my second to the least favorite. I did later use the brush to apply eyeshadow base. I went in a little heavy though because I wasn't used to the brush itself, so I went in a little bit heavier than I normally would when I applied my eyeshadow base, but it worked really well for that. It could also work for nose contour if you like a cream product. It would work really well for that, but this one is not my favorite, although it is functional. It does work. It's flat and it's very densely packed. So that was that brush. The next brush is the Precision Setting Brush, and you can see that it's a very small, round, domed brush. I use this brush to set my under eye concealer with my powder, and it does a very nice job for that because it does have a taper. I would prefer it to be more flat, like if it was flattened out like that. I think that it would do a better job. My eyes do water a lot, and when I went in, I found that I was getting a little bit of the brush and powder in my eyes, and so I didn't really enjoy it for that. But it does the job, and it's super soft. It picks up the product really well. But what I really liked this for was contouring. Because of the dome shape, I was able to get in right there, and it applied it so nicely. It blended it really nicely. It was just a soft, natural contour, and so I really like this brush for contour instead of setting. So yeah, just a note on this brush. It definitely wouldn't set your entire face. It's way too small for that. The next brush is a large powder brush, and it's very similar to the setting brush except for it's larger. And what I did use this brush for was to set my entire face, and I really liked it for that. It picks up my powder really well. It's a little bit smaller than the normal brushes I like to use to set my face, and what I found is that I really like this brush for bronzer. It reminds me a lot of the Sonia Kashuk brush that I use for bronzing. They're very similar in shape and density, and this Wet n Wild one is actually a lot softer. So for bronzer, it's really nice. It gives me a nice even application, and I can go all over my face, and it just works really well for that. So yeah, this one was a winner. The next brush in the collection is a contour brush, and it is the flat contour brush. Now this particular brush is super dense. The bristles are super close together, and so when I went in and I tried to contour on this side with powder contour, it was too harsh for what I was looking for. It really packs the product really heavily, even though I was using a very light contour powder, and so I don't enjoy it for that. It might be very good for blending out cream products, but I haven't tried it that way. What I do like this product for was to actually clean up my contour, and it makes a really nice sharp line. I also tried to contour my nose, but to be perfectly honest, it's too big for that, so I wouldn't recommend it for nose contouring. This one is my least favorite of the entire collection. It reminds me of this Real Techniques number 301 brush. You can see that they have similar shapes. The Real Techniques one is a little bit more dense, but I do have a tendency to use this one for cream product, and so this one might work for cream product, but I do like it for cleaning up the contour. I think it's handy for that. So that was this brush. The next brush in the collection is this one. This is a blush brush, and as you can see, I have pink in there. For me, I prefer a more fluffy brush. This one is a little bit dense. The bristles are tightly packed. Again, they're super soft, but I found that it picks up a lot of color, and when I went in my cheek, I really overdid it. I'm talking like clown face, like immediately, and I was using a more mauve-y kind of neutral blush, I thought, and when I went in, it was just a heavy application. It was smooth and it blended nicely, but it was a little bit heavier than I'm used to. I also had trouble reaching into a brush palette with this because it is a little bit of a bigger brush and it's also a little flatter, and so it doesn't fit so well into the blush pans. So this is probably really good for single blushes that are maybe more densely pressed, and it would work really well. But I liked it. I just went a little ham with the blush, and that was my own fault. The last brush from the face collection is the tapered highlighter brush, and that's what this one looks like. This brush is gold. This brush is so amazing. I am like in awe of it. Like absolute awe of this brush. I used it to apply my highlight today, and as you can see, my highlight is really just intense, and it picks up very firmly pressed powders, and it does such a beautiful job of applying the highlight. It's just the right size to go over the tops of your cheekbones, and you can even go up into your brow and maybe even the top underneath your brow bone. Your nose, like Wayne Goss taught me to do. The Cupid's bow as well. This brush is incredible. Everybody needs this brush in their collection. I'm obsessed. I'm literally obsessed with this brush. Like, wow. Okay, so now on to the eye brushes. There's a fluffy blending one. They call this one a dome pencil brush. This one is the tapered blending, and this one is the fluffy blending brush. These are nice brushes. They're not my favorite eye brushes. This one I would have to say is probably my favorite of the three. This one is the fluffy blending brush, and it kind of reminds me, I've seen a brush from the Sephora collection that sort of mimics this particular shape. It also reminds me a little bit of the Morphe E28. There they are for comparison. The only thing is I think the Morphe one is a lot more densely packed, but this one, it applies a beautiful transition, and when you apply a deeper shade and blend it out, it gives a beautiful, beautiful blend. Basically, I'm wearing 3 eyeshadows, and I used a transition shade, and then I went in with the pencil brush in the outer V, and then I went back and I blended with this brush, and it just gave such a beautiful blend. It looked like I used 4 or 5 different eyeshadows, and I didn't. It was just this. So this gets an A+. The pencil brush, it's interesting because it's dome shape, so it's not a precise pencil brush. It works nicely for underneath your lower lash line. You can also use it to pack on color, but this isn't gonna blend very well. It's more for packing color, and it does a good job at that, so it's a nice brush. So this last one reminds me kind of like a MAC 217. It reminds me of the MAC 217 because it's a little bit more fluffy, but it is pinched. So the ferrule is pinched and it tapers. Now, one thing about this particular brush, I used it to apply my lid shade because there's no shader brushes in this set, but it applied my lid shade okay. You just probably don't want to use this brush wet. When I wet it, it started taking off the shadow and it wasn't really nice, so I wouldn't recommend using this brush wet, but it's a blending brush anyway, and so I think it's nice quality. It was doing a fine job as well. So now you've seen the brushes one by one. In full disclosure, I was not able to do my entire face. I was missing an eyebrow brush. So I did do my brows using my Anastasia number 7 brush. But if you wanted to give a gift to someone, a really nice gift, this is perfect for a beginner or even someone that has a nice collection of brushes, because I would say 8 of the 10 brushes are fantastic, and this brush is amazing. My second favorite was this little blending brush. I also really enjoyed the powder brush, although I prefer it for bronzer. So there's just a lot of really nice brushes here, and I really, really recommend them. I think it's definitely worth the money. That's only $3 a brush, and some of these larger brushes tend to be more expensive. So I think it's totally worth it. They're beautiful. Again, the ergonomic sort of handhold thing doesn't really help me, because I hold my brush differently, but the finish is nice. And you know, these brushes, they're not super heavy, but they have a nice weight to them. They don't feel cheap. They feel like very nicely made brushes, and the bristles are very soft and they do pick up powder. One of the things about synthetic brushes is that oftentimes there's not enough of a shingle pattern or texture to the bristles to grab powders, but these do. They grab powders really well. I didn't have any trouble picking up powders on any of these brushes, obviously, since they're all not white anymore. I didn't experience any shedding. I haven't washed them yet because this was my first time using them, but my full face, with the exception of the eyebrows, was these brushes. I recommend them. They're only $30, and if you spot them, I don't think you'll be disappointed, and they'll make a beautiful gift for a makeup lover. I love brushes and I love these, so what can I say? Thank you so much for watching my video. Please do not forget to give it a big thumbs up if you did enjoy it. It really helps my channel. Also, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, as I would be so happy to see you on a future video. Don't forget to enter my giveaway. Have a wonderful day wherever you are. I will see you again very, very soon on my next video. Bye-bye.